Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand, join Councilman Bothroyd in our salute to our country and our flag.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for our prayer.
O God, the one who hears us when we call to you, you are good, true, and right. We can wander away from you. May your mercy draw us back to you. We want to give opportunity for our fellow citizens to grow as individuals and contribute to this community. Give us strength to make difficult decisions, ones that put others ahead of our own selfish desires, which will result in benefit for those in need. Please give us insight by your wisdom to choose well in our meeting tonight. Our desire is to honor you in the discussion and the decisions made tonight. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Frank. And I'll call to order our City Council meeting of October 1st. Second item on the agenda is public comments, community announcements, recognitions, and one person that will be speaking to an issue on the agenda. The third item on the agenda is consent agenda items A, B, and C. A is the approval of the City Council minutes of September 17th. B is the approval of the renewed contract between the City of Guthrie and Bobby Kane for the lease of the rodeo arena for 1 year. And C is the approval of budget amendment number 3, amending the budget for Gpwa and capital equipment funds and grant funds. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Submit your votes, please. See the votes. Unanimous approval from all those present to approve consent agenda items A, B, and C. Item number 4 is items removed from the consent agenda. There were none. Item number 5 is the purchase of a 2025 Chevrolet Police Tahoe with a state contract. Chief, or Steve, are you presenting that?
That is the chief now, see? He actually has hair.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We are asking approval for a purchase of one 2025 Chevy Tahoe police package, a state contract for $55,780 with up to $25,000 for equipment.
When will that get delivered?
Probably about a year.
Is it that far out, really?
We just received one we ordered last year about 2 weeks ago.
So moved.
Second.
I do have a question on the,
Tim, I hit the wrong button.
already it starts. So the 25,000 additional add-ons, is that pretty much what we've been doing in the past?
It's a little lower.
Okay. It seemed to be, but, no, and that's good. That's good. Yes.
We'll see.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Now you can submit your vote.
I submitted it. I think.
Let's see the votes. Unanimous approval from all those present then to move ahead with the purchase of a 2025 Chevy Tahoe for state contract.
Thank you.
Item number 6, special use permit for property on 3409 First Capitol Circle. Dan?
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. This special use permit request for a 10-foot by 24-foot carport in the front of an existing garage. The house is located in the Mission Hill subdivision. As you indicated, the address is 3409 First Capitol Circle. Per our code, any type of accessory structure that's forward of the rear wall of the home requires a special use permit. There are a number of requirements for the special use permit in terms of lot coverage, size, all of that. All of it meets those requirements. The only thing that obviously would be needed would be a special use permit. One of the main things to be considered anytime that we have these accessory structures, especially on a side or front yard, is compatibility with the neighborhood. As I said, all the other code requirements have been met. There was public comment at the Planning Commission. One resident that had spoken opposition. Since that time, you've also received a letter from another property owner in the area that is opposed to that. Also, there was a letter that was submitted that asked some questions on basically how the whole process or kind of looking at how this is to be analyzed, and that was provided as well as my comments to that. At the Planning Commission, they did recommend approval 3-0 to recommend approval of their request, which essentially from their side, they determined that it was compatible with the character of the neighborhood. So I'll leave it back to the city council if you have any questions of me. If not, the applicant is here, so if you do have questions of the applicant, you would be able to ask them.
And we also have an individual that wants to comment on it also.
Okay.
Do we have any questions of Dan to start out with? Okay. Leroy, you've asked to speak on this issue?
Leroy also. I'm not going to repeat all the remarks I made to Planning Commission. I just wanted to reiterate from those remarks. I don't think that the proposed carport is consistent with the original design of the neighborhood, and it's not consistent in harmony with the character of the neighborhood. And therefore, I would recommend it not be approved.
All right. Dan, did you comment that there were no other carports in the neighborhood?
Yes, you're correct, Mayor, that there is an existing, prior to the current code, metal carport on the side of the house that is just on the same street, just a few houses down, but there are no carports that extend in front of the house or especially in front of the garage anywhere in that subdivision.
Why is that, Dan, do you know?
Part of it is probably they do have somewhat of a homeowners association, CC&Rs, but honestly, part of it was probably there just hasn't been a request. This house is no different than any of the other ones there. They have a 3-stall garage, so probably for most people, they found, you know, what they needed for car coverage, if you want to say, within the existing garages.
Okay.
But we have had previous requests for garages forward of the house. In those cases, it's been to where they either had no garage or they only had a 1-stall garage in that. So those were different situations than what we have today.
You've had requests in Mission Hills for garages?
Have we had one?
Is that what you're saying?
We've never had, this is the first one in Mission Hills, yeah.
Okay.
But he had asked why there hasn't been any before, and I'm
Okay.
kind of just assuming, but but this is the first one we've had for Mission Hills.
And just for clarification, there is no homeowners association there?
There is, but it isn't one that has some legal binding in that. So there are CC&Rs that they have, but they've never went through the process to formally make it a functioning homeowners association.
What did we do on the additional homes that are being built? I know we went through quite a deal with them, and are they allowed to put carports on the front of those homes?
No, it'd be the same as this request. Anywhere within the city limits right now, if you're looking to put anything, again, forward, an accessory structure, forward of the rear wall of the house, it requires a special use permit. And that PD didn't have any exceptions that would allow them to put in front.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, no. Their exceptions were for lot size and setbacks and that, but not for garage or accessory structure locations.
So there is a homeowners association, but they're just not like a legal binding one, right?
Right. Basically not active.
What do they say? Yeah,
ahead.
what is, even though it's not official, what is their opinion on it?
This would not be allowed per those regulations or those CC&Rs.
So
They have restrictive covenants.
Yes.
That were put in the deeds of the homes. Is that, I mean, like in the plat, it was part of the.
I believe it was through a separate document, and they did not go through the formal process to make it legal.
they didn't do homeowners associations.
Yeah.
Did they
You
look at?
you don't have to do a homeowners association to have restrictive covenants. The restrictive covenants can be part of the title and they run with the land.
Right, and I know that
There's-
they're provided, my understanding is, they're provided to property owners when they purchase homes in there. I don't know if that's been done more recently, but it was through basically a separate document. It wasn't specifically on the plat.
Well, let me
Yeah.
ask, Leroy, you live in that
He
neighborhood.
lives in the
Is it
neighborhood,
part
yeah.
of your title?
I don't think it's part of the title.
I don't think so.
It's provided.
Yeah.
And those restricted covenants say that it's supposed to be enclosed garages, and therefore not carports. So this lot is just like any other lot in the subdivision as far as width. There's not anything unique to it that would be a hardship to grant a variance or in this case a special exception. I'm not sure what happened as far as formally organizing a homeowners association, but apparently that never happened. But when I bought my house, I was given the covenants. Everybody knows what the covenants are when we buy in there. That we shouldn't have to go to court to enforce a covenant. We would look for the city to follow their standards, and if it's not consistent with the design of the neighborhood, it shouldn't be approved.
Well, that's why I asked what the agreement was on the second phase, because I remember that there was nothing able to be protruding from the front of the house.
No, you're correct. Because again, if somebody in that addition or that area would want to have something again forward, they'd have to go through the same process. They wouldn't be able to have it by right.
And we just recently approved that within the last year or so, right?
Yeah, it was
Second.
2021 when that PUD went through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vice Mayor Gary, would you mind explaining to the lowly unintelligent people such as myself about what covenants are exactly?
Well, you can restrict by deed certain things as long as it doesn't run afoul of, some other laws. Like, historically, for example, William Rehnquist, who was Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, lived in a neighborhood that had restrictive covenants that prohibited the sale of homes to African Americans, right? That was a restrictive covenant that ran with the land. The court has struck those down and said they're not valid, but you can put them, and I believe Dr. Simpson did forward me in his deed. I don't remember if he forwarded it or if he told me that it had a restrictive covenant on the deed, which would mean that the homeowners would have to sue to enforce the covenant. The city doesn't enforce private, that's a private
Right.
contract.
Civil, yeah.
I mean, that's a contractual obligation that you enter into when you buy the land, and the city doesn't enforce that.
And
So
just-
with all due respect to Grant's opinion on it, I'd like to hear from our city attorney.
No, I agree with that. So it's a civil matter. The restrictive covenants wouldn't have any effect on the city's position.
Yeah, because covenants can be more restrictive than the city requirements. They just
But
can't
it's
be
up to
more
the
lenient.
it's up to the
Yes,
individual to enforce
absolutely,
it.
yeah.
But we didn't approve it on the second plat is where I'm going, or the
No.
second PUD
No,
whatsoever.
but we generally don't approve, again, CCNRs or homeowners association. That's between the property owners and the developer, because as was indicated, it's a civil thing and we don't get involved with that.
So are you saying that this is not a question for the planning commission either?
No, it is. The CCNRs are not, but the request is, because again, through our code, this is a, it's anywhere. It's a legitimate, if you want to say, request in that. So the city could approve it, and then if the civil side wanted to put suit upon them and say they violated the CCNRs or the HOA, that could happen.
If this council to approve it, that does not have any effect on
Right.
the CCRs. It doesn't
Right.
negate the CCRs, it doesn't mean it can't be sued.
Right.
You can't give authority to violate the CCRs.
Exactly.
It still can become a civil matter
Yep.
between the homeowners.
Yep.
Well, I guess that's what the
Yep.
question I was looking for.
Right, we don't enforce other people's rules.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. In driving through the neighborhood, again, I wanted to see if there were any other carports, and I didn't see any. And I can see where this doesn't, in my mind, it doesn't look like it fits. It's a unique situation. It's a unique artifact, if you will, of the front of the, I don't know how many houses are out there, 180 or so. But anyway, it just seems like it doesn't match the rest of the community. And I am concerned that once it starts, then it becomes a slippery slope. So that's where I would be concerned about taking that first step down that slippery slope. Again, I don't see that it fits,
they
especially in a
consider-
three-car garage.
Did they look at stick construction, concrete, brick pillars tied into the home with, with regular comp shingles and that type deal? Or is it just strictly metal?
Yeah, I'm not sure the options that they looked at. They
I'm talking
are.
about it planning.
Oh, no,
I didn't
no,
know that.
no. They didn't really discuss anything in terms of other options, other type of construction, anything like that. They were pretty much satisfied with the metal four posts basically being right in front of the garage.
Okay, all right. And the applicant apparently is here. And in our packet, we have a picture of your house with the three-car garage. We have I don't know if not a rendering per se, but we have, of course, you included the specifics of what the proposed carport would look like. Basically, just the pillars and open side, flat top. I don't know if you wanted to make a statement at all.
So is it wanting to go over here?
Thank you. My name is Lorene Black. We didn't receive a covenant. If I would have known it was a covenant like this, I would have moved into the home, the neighborhood. Because I looked through all my documents, and someone sent it to me because I asked him, and I had never seen that document before in my life. I'm like, I don't know, I haven't seen it. So my dad is 80, he's a veteran, and the weather continued to damage my father's truck, which I have to get it repaired. And he shouldn't have to walk where he walks to get through weather and stuff, and it's dangerous. And he has a truck, so it wouldn't fit in our garage. And that's the only reason why we was trying to get a carport. And when you say there's not a carport in the area, it's just one right 3 houses down. It is a carport there.
In the front of the house?
No, it's on the side of the house.
No, I was saying in the front of the house.
Right. Well, I was just saying there's a carport there, but it's not like the carport that we want to put up. I don't know if you've seen the carport that we were referring to, but it's a flat and it's nice looking, sleek, and that would go with the aesthetics of the home. But, and we don't have an HOA, so, then once again, I didn't know anything about the covenant. That's the first time I seen that. When
Okay.
Dan told me to ask someone in the neighborhood, and I did, and they gave it to me, and I said, that wasn't in my documents. Did you have something
Okay.
to say?
For what it's worth, if I could, Mayor. So I did go on the website for Mission Hills. I did find their covenants, and they were filed with the county clerk, Logan County. They were filed April 26th of 2023. So they are filed, and not to give legal advice outside of for the city, but that would run with the land.
Okay, all right, thank you, thank you. I'm sorry, Leroy, you had another comment? You only have 5 minutes.
Can you state your name?
As indicated, city does not enforce the covenants. I think the reason the covenants are pertinent to tonight's discussion is it expresses the original design of the neighborhood. And if we go give a special exception, it's supposed to be consistent with the character of the neighborhood. And if you read the covenants, No structure shall be erected, altered, placed, or permitted to remain on any residential building plot other than one detached single-family dwelling not to exceed 2 stories in height in a private garage. Outbuildings constructed on any lot shall be constructed to the rear of the dwelling and enclosed by a site-proof fencing that will prevent said outbuilding from being viewed from the street passing in front of the residence. So when you buy a home, that's one of your bigger investments. And those covenants, when they're provided to you, tell you what type of neighborhood you're investing your money in. And so I think why they're pertinent to discussion is it tells you people that invest in a neighborhood, they were told the character and the design of the neighborhood. That's why I think they're pertinent to discussion, not that you all enforce them.
Okay.
The carport that is existing in the neighborhood, is it metal or is it, so, for example, my brother has a carport in his house in Plano, but it's made of brick and it's shingled and it's, you know, I mean.
It's metal.
It's metal, but that carport was grandfathered in, I believe, a long time ago. It was there when I bought my house, so it's been there for quite
And
some
it's
time.
to the side of that,
And it's to the side, it's not.
which that covenant allows to the side and to the back.
It would be questionable under the covenant.
It's speaking of garage to the back.
Yes.
I did read it, but I don't have it.
See, I think there's a place for carports within the community, and I really do. The problem I have in this neighborhood is we've never approved that. When we looked at these PUDs, especially on the second phase. And the covenants clearly express that they're not to be there. You know, so.
Are there any other questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion on item number 6.
Make a motion to deny.
I'll second it.
We have a motion to deny and a second. Any other further discussion?
So what is a yes vote in this
A
situation?
yes vote is to deny.
To
the
deny.
request.
Just making sure.
I think it should be in the affirmative, but that's okay.
We had the motion was to deny and it was seconded. Any other discussion? And just to confirm, a yes vote would deny the application. Okay, submit your votes, please. See the votes. Unanimous approval then to deny the application for the special use permit on 3409 First Capitol Circle for a carport. Item number 7, Oklahoma Department of Aerospace and Aeronautics grant agreement. Caden?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Staff is recommending approval and acceptance of Staff is recommending approval and acceptance of $285,000 and $285,201 for the upcoming parallel taxiway reconstruction and lighting project. Last month, the City Council unanimously approved acceptance of the federal grant portion of this project in the amount of approximately $5.13 million. That federal share will make up 90% of the total project cost. Today, we are asking that the mayor be authorized to sign a grant agreement that will authorize the state to pay for an additional 5% portion. After acceptance of these funds, we'll be left to pay a remaining 5%, which will be split with the city of Edmond, leaving, as I mentioned last month, $142,600 for these construction improvements upon airport property. The total project cost is approximately $5.7 million total. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I met with Toby on Saturday in El Reno at the airport there. And the runway, or the parallel taxiway will shut air traffic for 30 days. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. So the total project will consist of 240 days of construction. It will shut the runway down for 30 days, excuse me. The city and the construction agreement does have liquidated damages. So if it takes 32 days, the contractor will be paying for that. Our goal is that we're going to have a meeting with the FBO and the airport engineer to discuss the phasing. The airport board will be briefed after that. And then once that's all happened, we're going to have a town hall style like airport tenant meeting and go over the phasing with all the tenants as we can. And then we'll place tenant phasing information in the lobby of the FBO as well. And so we're hoping to keep everybody updated, and we're gonna we had some options before us where we could have, had the runway open and then closed it, and open and then closed it. And you as a pilot, I'm sure, are aware that that would be a nightmare of communication. So our goal is to just get it all taken care of at once. We think we can do it quicker that way with the materials and resources that we have. And so but we will face a closure. That's correct.
Okay, any other questions?
And we'll put those in the notams, I take it.
Yes, sir. Yep, they'll be noted down.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes. See the votes. Unanimous approval to go ahead and accept the grant from the Oklahoma Department of Aerospace and Aeronautics for $285,201 for reconstruction of parallel taxiway and install taxiway lights. Item number 8, city manager report. Notice that our city manager is not here. He had a death in his extended family. He's with his family. I think it was his great uncle that died. So Eddie is there with the family. Obviously, all of our thoughts and prayers go to Eddie and the family in this regard. So there will not be a city manager report at this time unless Dan wants to make one. Okay.
His time's up. He's already used up
Your time's done.
Item number 9 is comments from members of the city council. Vice Mayor Aguirre.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to express my deepest sympathies for our city manager and his family at this time, and that's all I have.
Councilman Williams.
I have nothing, thank you.
Councilman Bothroyd.
Nothing tonight.
Councilman Mills.
I echo the Vice Mayor's sympathies with our city manager's family.
Councilman Rapp.
Yeah, our hearts are with Mr. Faulkner, and that's all I have.
Councilman Taylor.
I echo that as well. Thank you, staff. It's great. A year for a police car. Well, anyway, it could be worse. It could be 2 or 3 years down the road and never get one. So, but thanks, guys. Appreciate everything you're all doing. Hope we get some rain before long, and we'll see what happens.
I would echo the hope for rain, as well as the prayers and condolences to Eddie and his family in the death of the granduncle. The activities continue to happen around our city. Guthrie Haunts, I think, starts this weekend. One of the best Halloween haunts, I guess, in the state, maybe the nation. I don't know. Justin, how did you vote on that one?
Pretty scary stuff.
It's scary.
Look how his hair's receding.
If you don't notice, Justin's hair was solid black before he went to the haunts last year. But it is a cool thing. If you're into that kind of thing, it is really a great activity. We got homecoming this weekend. I think there's some street dances going on in association with that. So all of the homecoming class reunions that happen with all of that. So again, busy times. To reiterate from 2 weeks ago, we do have some vacancies on some of our boards. We have vacant position in the Board of Adjustment. We have vacant position in libraries. We have a vacant position in Park and Urban Forestry. Maybe 2. Do we have 1 or 2? Yeah, we increased. And 1 in planning. 2 in planning. So plenty of opportunity. Again, if you're interested in engaging, go into the City of Guthrie website. It has instructions. It has more definition of what those boards and commissions do. It also has instructions on how to go ahead and make your application for that. So again, be involved, be engaged. We appreciate your help. Item number 10 is proposed executive session to discuss with the city attorney pending investigations or claims.
Your Honor, pursuant to Title 25 of the Oklahoma Statutes, Section 307B4, I would ask that we move to executive session for the purpose of discussing confidential communication between the city council, its attorney, concerning a pending investigation or claim.
We have a motion, is there a second? We have a motion and a second, submit your votes. See the votes, unanimous approval then to move to executive session.
Mr.
Ladies
Mayor.
and gentlemen, we will see you in a bit.
Bluegrass, right? Coming up.
Bluegrass.
money. It's only money.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to move out of executive session into general
Your Honor, I
session.
move that we return to general session and in the executive session.
It's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Submit your votes. See the votes, unanimous to move out of executive session and general session. That was item number 10, in executive session was discussion only. There is no action taken at this time. We are adjourned from our city council. And call to order our Guthrie Public Works Authority meeting of October 1st. Second item on the agenda is consent agenda items A, B, and C. A is the approval of Public Works Authority minutes of September 17th. B is the approval of payment to Myers Engineering of invoice number 222246-17 in the amount of $1,399.84 for OWRB water distribution system. C is the approval of budget amendment number 3 concerning GPWA funds, capital equipment funds, and grant funds as discussed in the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
That was a small payment.
That's the smallest payment we've seen.
Smallest one.
Yeah.
Submit your votes, folks.
Ever.
See the votes. Unanimous approval of consent agenda items A, B, and C. Item number 3 is items removed from consent agenda. There were none. Item number 4 is change order number 3 with Southwest Waterworks for the water line project C and Southwest Water. Increased the original contract by $17,469. Tenny?
Yes, Mayor, Council, this change order number 3 will increase section C of the original contract by $17,469. What this does, this will reconsolidate the planned quantities for this section. I was asked to kind of go in a little bit of detail on that. I won't go through every item that was reconsolidated here. There was approximately about 22 different items, whether it was footage for additional bores that was made or unforeseen interconnections that was made where in the original plan maybe it was viewed as on our atlas as a 6-inch, but once it got uncovered it was a 12, meaning that different size fittings was needed. So there was a delete in the project, there's deleted items, and then there's added items to reconsolidate to reach the 17,000. I will say that this is our last section excuse me, to this project, and we will be having our final walkthrough, and the final overall approximate balance in this project will be in the positive of about approximately $40,000.
Questions of Tenny?
So moved.
I'll entertain a motion. Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Last opportunity. Submit your votes. See the votes. Unanimous approval. Then to approve change order number 3 with Southwest Waterworks LLC for the section C of the water line project. That being the last item on our agenda, ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned for the evening. Thank you.